Welcome back to another video on my new super cool project car that I just picked up for $800, my 1996 Toyota Camry LE. And in today's video, we're going to be going through just how awful this car is by listing everything that is wrong with this car and everything that we're going to be fixing. So if you're excited for these build videos, these repair videos coming up on the channel, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button right now and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because even though this is a 90s Toyota Camry, today you're going to be learning about why I bought this car, and you're not going to want to miss out on the content that's to come on this particular vehicle. Now, I did some brief walkarounds on this car in the previous videos of going to go and get it, and it's pretty bad. So the first thing that's wrong with this car is cosmetics. This car is so far gone cosmetically, it's not worth my time, my energy, or any resources in trying to restore the exterior of this car. We may need to do some further super deep cleaning on the exterior of this car. In the next video, I pressure washed the outside of it, and honestly, it doesn't remove any of the dirt and grime. I don't know if it's covered in diesel soot from the tow home or what is going on with this car, but it is so filthy. The paint is so far gone. Like, honestly, this car should be sitting in a junkyard having parts taken off of it. Instead, it has what I call a conglomerate of body panels on the car from all different years, makes, models. The hood doesn't even fit right and is dented up because this car is on a rebuilt and a salvage title. So here in the overlay, here's a walk around of this car and just how terrible it is. As you can see, there's multiple dents, scrapes, scratches, terrible paint repair jobs on it. Some of the body panels are off different cars and they just don't quite fit. Some of them are the same color as my 95 Camry, but obviously a horrible paint job. It's got the classic clear coat peel and all that. And I mean, we're lucky to have mirrors on this car and taillights. That's how bad this body is on the car cosmetically. You can see that the wheels are all scratched up, and the number two thing that's wrong with this car is that the wheels are mismatched. There's snow tires in the back of this car. Mind you, it's a front wheel drive car. The front has all season tires on it. Luckily, they're all pretty good and pretty brand new, but I don't know if we'll be keeping that setup. We may have to get a cheap set of at least all-season tires for the rear or the front. In this case, we'll probably do a little bit of rotating and balancing, because that's just weird that you're running snow tires on one end of the car and not the other. It does ride a little wonky, so it probably needs a wheel alignment there as well. Also, technically speaking, in terms of cosmetics, the interior of this car is near perfect. It looks like it's something straight out of the factory, but it is so dirty. It is covered in dog and cat hair and grime, literally from years of use. So again, in the next video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're going to be deep cleaning the interior of this car because it really needs it. But once that's done, the inside of this car, it's perfect. The number three thing that's wrong with this car has to deal with this driver's door handle right here by this large bird poop. Yes, the car is filthy. This door handle is broke right here on the driver's side, and supposedly the story goes, which they had the title, so I don't think this car's stolen, but supposedly they locked their keys inside the car and they didn't want to pay the fee to come get it, I guess, opened by a locksmith. So they broke the driver's door handle right here because they're cheap. And they somehow got into that tumbler and opened the door from that. But what they didn't understand in doing that is just how difficult these door handles are to replace. Yes, it's only a $4 part. I have one. I'm ready to replace it. But they are straight up a pain to get into. And it just is going to take some patience and some time. But this is number three thing that's wrong with this car. And the fourth thing that's wrong with this car is that it has an aftermarket radio, which honestly on these 90s Camrys is a really big positive note, but usually that's because they work. In this car, the aftermarket radio was just kind of thrown in here, haphazardly wired up. It looks decent. It's a JVC, so it's not an expensive one, but it doesn't work. For some reason, the stations just do not come in. I've been told it works with an auxiliary cord. I haven't actually tried that out. I was able to get one radio station working, so it doesn't seem like it's a speaker issue or kind of a wiring issue on that end. But also, if you can see it in the back, that radio antenna is the OEM antenna that is fully retractable and telescoping, and that doesn't work either. So it very well could simply be an antenna issue. It could be a wiring issue in here with the head unit. But we're gonna have to get a new antenna for this car as well, combined here in this this thing that's wrong with the car is the radio and the audio system. And for me, that has to work. So we're gonna be doing a lot of work on the radio and the sound system in here, because these cars were designed to be commuters and run around cars, and that's exactly what this car is gonna get used for. And if my parents don't decide to keep it when they sell it, that's most likely what the future owner will be using this car for. So this sound system has to work. That's kind of a big thing that's wrong here. And the fifth thing that's wrong, or was wrong with this car, were the hood struts. For some reason, the previous owner, when they rebuilt the front end of this car and put this beautiful new hood on, decided that, you know what? These cars are so reliable, we never have to work on it. We don't need hood struts. And they left the old ones just dangling right there, hanging, still attached on the frame of the car, just not on the hood. And it'd been that way so long that they'd frozen up and they were unusable. They were missing hardware, and it was just time to put new ones on here. So in next week's video, I'll be replacing the hood struts on this Camry so that we no longer have to use this metal rod to prop the hood up to work under in here from my Duramax bed cover. And that's really kind of a nice new thing to have on this car, but that was the fifth thing that was wrong with it. Number 6 is a major exhaust leak on this car. Now, this is just a 2.2 liter inline 4-cylinder motor, super efficient, and if I had my 95 Camry here right now, I would show you guys they are ultra quiet. These were the quietest cars that you could own back in the day. This one's a little different. Let me show you what I mean. Yes, this car is totally the opposite of everything that the factory had intended for it, and that's because the flex pipe right after the downpipe into the exhaust pipe system underneath the car is rotted out and completely broken. Now, it looks like somebody tried to remedy this hole by putting kind of a hose clamp over it, but obviously it needs to be done right. It needs to be taken off and replaced. So stay tuned to the channel. We'll be doing that in a later video, because the car just doesn't run well the way it is. It doesn't sound good the way it is. It's embarrassing already enough to drive around the way it looks. It doesn't need to have an exhaust system to match the car. So we're going to be fixing that, quieting it all back down to factory, and making the car run again. Along with that, it probably is way overdue for a tune-up, and I'll talk about that a little bit towards the end of the video. Finally, the 7th thing that is wrong with this Toyota Camry is its power steering. Now, the car was only $800 for this reason, because it is kind of a more major issue on the car, as if the other 6 things weren't that we've gone over. Now, this car has 2 main accessory drive belts. One of those belts is for the alternator and the AC compressor, while the other belt runs the power steering pump. Owning one, I knew this, and so I decided to come and look at this car to see if that second belt was missing. Maybe it would be an easy fix, I thought. So we get the car on the test drive. I open the hood. I mean, it was covered under that much snow, so we scraped all the snow off, get the hood open, have to hold it up open. While I'm trying to look down in the engine bay here, I did notice that that second power steering pump drive belt was missing, most likely broken when either the pump itself froze or due to age broke and now the power steering doesn't work. However, I did not check in the test drive if that pulley was frozen and would turn, and I can barely get my hand down in there now, but it doesn't seem like that pump is going to be a working one. It looks like we'll have to be replacing it. Now I am going to put a belt on and we'll try it just because we'll see if maybe it just kind of froze up with age and maybe the balancer will break it loose. I doubt it. Pumps for this car are only 50 bucks, so we'll probably be throwing a new one of them in, as well as doing a power steering system refresh on this car as well. And with that, we'll be putting new belts on both of the drive belts also. I have to laugh because I tried to include everything that is wrong with this car, or at least the 7 most important and pressing problems, because I'm sure there are a million other miscellaneous things that need done to this car. For example, half the taillight bulbs are burnt out, and I'm sure some of these on the headlights are as well. The trunk is an absolute disaster. It's missing like the spare tire cover and just some stuff like that. I think the spare tire is in terrible condition. So we really are doing almost a complete restoration on this vehicle, along with a complete tune-up, new spark plugs, new wires, distributor cap and rotor, all of that stuff. And the reason being because there's no better car than these 90s Toyota Camrys. Now, I say that with a little bit of hesitation because being a car guy, these are absolutely horrible cars. They're terrible to drive around, 125 horsepower, they're slow, but in terms of reliability and in terms of a commuter, the world has never seen a better car than a Camry or a Honda Accord. Now, they're pretty much identical from this year, and to pick one of these up for $800 with only 150,000 miles on it is impressive. Now, this car probably needs about $200 worth of work and a ton of my time, but for $1,000, you just can't beat it. As of right now, our plans are to hang on to the car, so I'm going to go ahead, we're going to take some time, fix it up right, get everything working mechanically as it should. Now, the 16-valve 2.2 liter that's in this car is in immaculate condition. I'm sure it's been abused and not taken care of, but just by looking at it, the motor looks very good. Like, I almost wish I could take this motor out and put into my 117,000 mile 95 Camry. Like, overall, mechanically, this is going to make a great car, which is the reason that we bought it, which is the reason we're going to keep it stock, because honestly, it's a $1,000 car. It'll always be a $1,000 car, and it's just going to make a great runaround. Hopefully this video cleared up a bunch of questions around the 96 Camry and what we're going to be doing with it here on the channel. No, unfortunately, we're not LS swapping it or doing some crazy mod. We're going to keep everything stock. This is just going to be kind of a quick resto series for a great commuter and a runaround, and why I like these 90s Camrys so much. And don't let that fool you. The camera does not do justice to how terrible this car is. It really is in very, very rough shape. I'm hoping to find a donor car here soon to get the right body panels on this car and to make the exterior look 100% better. But with all of that said, if you're interested in the upcoming videos, we're going to be going through and fixing everything on this list. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. Follow me on the Insta-Thing link down below, because you're not going to want to miss the content coming on this car. Also, if you are curious about why I bought this car, hopefully this video cleared it up. If it didn't, drop a comment down below so that I know to address it in a future video. With all of that said, hope you guys are doing great. Get out, enjoy your automotive ownership, find a fun commuter car, and I'll catch you in the next video.